Hi, I'm Liam Byrne. I'm the Managing Director of Team Locum.
And I'm Mitchell Smith, Sales Director.
What we're going to do today is we're going to discuss briefly with you the change in the IR35 legislation, how that's going to impact you as a locum, clients and the whole industry, what that means going forward and what advice we can give you.
IR35 is a legislation that's going to be coming in from April 2021. It was reformed in 2000, I believe, with the sole purpose for tax avoidance. It's already been introduced into the public sector and will be going into the private sector from April this year.
So what that actually has happened is I was invited, it's about 2 years ago before the pandemic, I was invited to a meeting with HMRC, and HMRC did a presentation about what these reforms and changes are going to mean for the healthcare sectors that we operate, pharmacy and optics. And we were invited with all our major clients and one of the only few agencies that were invited, and they explained to us what the change in legislation means. And what essentially it is it's the status as to whether you're inside IR35 or outside IR35. To be inside means that you are treated as an employee by the client, so you would have to pay national insurance contributions, the clients would have to pay employers' national insurance, they'd have to pay pension contributions, and locums would have to pay PAYE. And those changes obviously greatly impact the current market as to how much earning potential you have as a locum and how much it costs the clients. And then outside means that you are not deemed an employee and that you would be able to legitimately work through a limited company or as a self-employed person. Now, what the change has happened is that although it's always been the case whether you're inside or outside, the person that's held accountable has changed, and that change came in 2017. So it came from, instead of the individual being the pharmacist or optician, it became the client. And the reason for that change made it a lot easier for HMRC to approach a large client who has thousands of locums working for them and being able to investigate it, rather than approach the thousands of different clients and see if they have to go through their self-assessments.
Will this affect local pharmacists and optometrists is, I'm sure, the question that you're all asking. In long and short of it, no. But there are things that we need to put in place now to make sure that when April does come round, we can ensure that everyone is continuing to work as they do at the moment. So first of all, they distinguishing between whether you are a sole trader or you're working through a limited company. We've already been contacted by clients to make sure that some locums are only working as sole traders and some clients will only work with locums that are sole traders. We've also been contacted by some clients to say that they will only pay into personal bank accounts as well. So going forward from April, we are going to find that a lot of clients are probably going to follow suit and they're all going to do very similar things. Reason being is that's why IR35 is coming into force, is to stop people that are actually going through limited companies. That is the whole reason as to why. If you can prove that you are a sole trader and are working as a sole trader, then you will fall outside of IR35. And one of the biggest reasons why you will fall outside of IR35 is because of the level of control you have in your profession.
So the main reason IR35 is going to impact is mainly down to not necessarily whether you're just inside or outside, it's your actual employment status. So are you legitimately self-employed or are you legitimately a limited company? What the whole idea behind IR35 is to try and clamp down on what they call personal service companies, which is where you work through your limited company and you get the tax benefits of running a limited company. So the idea behind it is that they reduce the amount of people working through personal service companies and encourage you to become a sole trader, as Mitch pointed out, or a self-employed person, you will need to speak to an accountant, or you can speak to myself or Mitch, and we can talk you through how to transfer over to a self-employed person. And then you need to be legitimately self-employed. So where this falls short is if you're continuously working. I know in the opticians industry, in optometry, there's a lot of optometrists that work regular set days. So they work maybe Monday, Tuesday with an independent, and they do that all year round. That would be deemed as an employed position, and you would fall inside IR35. However, if, for example, you worked for a series of 5 or 6 independents, you didn't have a set structure as to what days you came in, and you regularly took holiday, you took gaps, you picked up work from any number of small multiples and independents, then you would legitimately be a self-employed person. Therefore, the impact of IR35 would be lessened on yourself, and you would be able to carry on working as a sole trader. And that's what the whole differentiation is. We'll work with locums, and we'll try and show them what patterns of behaviour would be deemed inside or outside IR35, because we obviously want to work with you in the same way we have been working, but we need to make sure that we, yourselves and our clients, are not falling foul of the legislation as it currently is.
As Liam touched on in regards to the regularity of bookings as well, what we've found from HMRC is they'll look for trends of people that are actually working a 12-week period and more so.
Now, one of the things that we have found since explaining why clients have made decisions to reduce their liability, and as a result your own liability with IR35 and the employment status, is they've stopped paying expenses. Now, the reason for this is expenses is a term under HMRC's guidance of an employee benefit. So things like mileage, things like accommodation, things like parking, these are all employee benefits that can be offset as a limited company. That isn't something a contractor would be able to charge for. What you have to do is factor that into your rate. So think of it like if you were to employ a builder. A builder wouldn't charge you the cost of their accommodation, they wouldn't charge you the cost of mileage. What they would do is they'd give you a day rate and factor that in overall. Now, I appreciate that it can be a contentious issue trying to get the increased rates to subsidise that, but that is essentially what we're trying to push for you. So instead of trying to ask for mileage or accommodation, instead of increase that, work out what that would cost and factor it in over the X amount of hours that you'd be looking to work.